Okay guys, I've got the two Jubilee clips on both sides, got them on nice and even, made sure they're okay, so we should be ready just to give her a run and have a quick trial. What I shall do now, I've got all the jets back in, I just want to check them, make sure they're tight. I'll just check these. Here we go, everything's ready I think. I've got it all connected up temporary to a pond pump. I've got the bucket under there ready to catch the water. I've got that side brought up higher than the water level to stop any coming back out of there. If we look this end, I think everything's done. I've just got the mesh to tidy up, but that can wait. Everything's ready this side, I've done the same on this side. All these joints are taped up, I didn't want to solvent weld them. So what we're going to do is give it a whirl hopefully. I've got a run back to the pond. I have actually, I don't know whether you can see it, but there is a bag on the end of the pipe that'll stop any plastic going into the pond. If there's any shards of plastic in there, hopefully that'll catch them and stop them going into the pond. So we're about ready to give it a whirl, so bear with me. I'll just put you back on the stand and we'll give it a test. I've got the float switch, I've got it there, I've got to finish that off. Obviously them wires will be above water level, but I've got to do them properly. I've just put them in temporary, but hopefully everything should work. So we're going to find out. So I'm going to put you on the stand and you will see it happen as I see it happen. Okay, I hope you're in the position where you can see everything there. So I'm now going to switch the pump on and let's see how things go. But we'll give it a go and see what happens. The pump is on. I can hear water coming. And there it goes. We've got water. Now whether I've got the level in the pipe that's actually running back to the pond or not, I don't know. But we shall soon see. We're filling up quite quickly here. So we should soon see. And hopefully that bag on the end will catch all the dirt. It's a bit cold in this shed at the moment, it's quite late at night now. So there's a lot of dirt in this side and I don't see any in this side, so that's a good sign. I have found my bill that must have come out the mesh. Good job I found that. But I don't see any dirt in the other side, and there's lots of dirt in this side that's come out the pipe. So that's good. So we should soon start flowing back to the, yeah, it's just started going back to the pond. The flow has just started there and that's about midway. So now I'm just going to check round for leaks just to see how things are going at the moment. I don't see anything to be too concerned about. There's nothing happening there. Now then, will the pipe keep up with my return? I hope so. Will it cater with the flow back to the pond? So I've just got to adjust that float because the water level is quite high. So I'm just going to adjust the float up. I haven't actually switched that on yet, so I've made it adjustable so I can actually adjust it up and down. So we all look to be running okay at the moment. Everything's looking good. Great stuff. So what I'll do now is I shall just switch my electrics on and see how things are going there. So I've turned the timer delay switch up to 10 seconds so that when that triggers it won't go because I haven't switched the pump on yet, but I just want the drum to turn. So if I lift the float switch, it should trigger it. And there we go. So all's turning nicely there. So now I can switch the pump on. I think that's on. It's a two-way switch, so I'm not quite sure which is on or off, but it's in Chinese, so it's a bit of a guess really. So let's see what happens now. I don't hear the pump running, so we'll have to switch it the other way. Okay, that's switched it the other way. Now let's see how we go. Oh, I've just knocked all the fuses out. Well guys, a bit of a disaster. Everything was going spot on and until the actual water pump was supposed to cut in. I don't know whether you'll see it down there, or you should be able to. When that was supposed to cut in, it knocked all the electric out through a trip. So the pump, I must have a faulty one. The pump is throwing trips for some reason. If I have it on setting 1, nothing happens. If I put it on to setting 2, it knocks the trip out. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. I'm going to have to look into that one, I'm afraid. But that's our problem. The water pump for some reason is knocking trips out. So I've got to take that off and investigate. Well, good morning everybody. Now, after last night's disaster with the pump, where it threw a trip, and I blame the pump, it was totally my fault. But then again, I discovered that the green wire that comes out of this pump isn't earth, it is actually the neutral wire. So if you ever buy one of these, they come with a sealed plug, so you can't see how it's wired in the plug. Well, I did eventually, because I cut the plug in half with a hacksaw. But basically the green wire isn't earth, it is actually neutral. And that's where I went wrong. I put the green to earth and it's a neutral wire. Anyway, I've got that swapped round. I'm going to get it all put back together, get it all connected up to the pond again and the pump, and we'll have another go. So bear with me while I get that done. We'll just have a quick look inside the RDF. Now, I don't know whether it's too dark down there. I hope you guys can see it. But that's the sort of dirt that came out the pipe when I switched the pond pump on. And if we look in this side, we're as clean as a whistle. So everything seems to be working great that as far as that's concerned. So now we've just got to check this pump out and make sure that we've got it wired correctly this time. So I'll get it all connected back to the pond. Round 2. Pump's connected. That's all ready to go. The bucket's under the waist. The pipe return is back on and up to the pond. I've still got the bag on. There still could be some bits of plastic in there, so I'm keeping that on. So it looks like we're ready to give it another go. And we'll see if we can get the spray jets to work this time. Fingers crossed, eh? You're not supposed to run these pumps empty, so I haven't tried it. Just change the wiring round, hoping that'll do the job. So I'll put you back up where I think you can see the most on the tripod, and we'll give it a go. Right guys, I think we're ready. I think everything's ready. Just a quick check. I've got some buckets on hand because all this tape around these joints, I've not got any expectations of it holding water, so we might get a drip or two. There is a little bit of water on the floor down there, but that's just come out of that 3-inch pipe, so that's nothing to do with leaking. So right, I'm going to switch the pump on and we'll see what happens. So the pump's on. And here comes the water, I can hear it. So here we go again. Test number 2 this. I shall switch my electrics on. and we're set for 12 seconds, which is fine, I think. So we're filling up. There's a lot more dirt come into the dirty chamber. Still looking pretty good in the other one. So we're filling up nicely. Just see if we've got water going back to the pond. Yeah, we're flowing back to the pond okay. Water level's coming up. I did shorten the length of pipe that controls the water level in here, so I have shortened that somewhat. I suppose what I could do is just give the pump a try. I'll flick the float up and let's see what happens. Fingers crossed, here we go. Whoa! We have lift off. That's not bad, it is shooting about. It is spraying about a bit. It is shooting a bit of water about. I could do with another sort of cover on there, actually. I wonder if I can pinch it off my other one for now, just to keep the water down. It is spraying all round. Now it's going to be a matter of just leaving it going. The pump actually works, so that's not bad at all. It's not too noisy either. So everything seems to be going okay. So right guys, I shall wait for the mesh to block, see how it builds up and make sure it triggers. So I'll be back soon. That's the return back to the pond. It's all working well. That's a 10 micron bag on there, so it should take out real small stuff. And it's not blocking, so that means the RDF is actually cleaning it up. We've been running about half an hour now, I should imagine, so it's getting a good test. It's not triggered yet. All the fish are in there wondering what's happening, but yeah, everything seems to be working well at the moment. I ought to have taken my net off really before I started this, but never mind. The float is actually starting to bob about a little bit now, as long as the camera stays focused. It is actually moving. It's just a matter of how high it's got to be to trigger the actual switch. About 1 3/4 hours now it's been running. Made me jump. And there we go, I'm still getting wet. That's all the rubbish coming from it. They are quite powerful, them jets. I'm still getting wet with that piece of board on it, so I really will have to look at that, but there we go. Let's clean that out. The float has now gone back down, the water level's dropped, and waiting for the next time. Brilliant stuff, worked really well. Okay guys, that's put a spray guard on it. I don't know whether you'll see now, but the spray has only actually come in about 2 or 3 inches from the top, so that's cut that down big time. It was getting all the wood wet and everything. I was getting wet stood by it, so that's sorted that one out. Well, what I'm doing at the moment is covering all this ending where the sprocket and everything is. I've got to do something else down there underneath with the water pump, just to keep the water off it basically, and the damp air, that sort of thing. I've just got the top to go on it. I've just got to make a top up for this, then that's done. And there we go, that's the sprocket and chain cover. That's tucked all that out the way now. Like I say, I'll keep the weather off it, and it'll also be a lot safer with it inside there and protected. Well, good morning everybody, and what a lovely sunny day it is here today. It's reasonably early, so this is day 3 on working on the RDF, the running of the RDF. So what I want to do today is give it a full day's run, non-stop, just leave it going all day. I might even give my pond a sweep round to get any dirt out, see how it goes. So let's just pop down the shed and have a look. Everything else is going fine, there's got no problems anywhere else. So here we are in the shed. I've just got to connect it all up again, just put it back to the pond, tape the joints up again, just get that done, and then I want to leave it running all day and just see how things go basically. I don't think I'm going to have any problems. It seems to be working really well. I'm well pleased with it. So I'll get it all connected up, and I have actually got some new nozzles I'm going to try. Just a bit of an experiment really. I've bought some new nozzles. I'm just going to give them a go and see how they perform as opposed to these. So they're a little bit narrower on the fan. So I'm just going to have a look just to see how they go, basically. See how they work. You don't know these things unless you try. So I'm just going to experiment with that. I've got several jobs to do on the RDF, but it doesn't matter if it's running. I can still do the jobs while it's running. So I thought today's a good day. I'll give it a blast all day long and see how things go. So I'm going to get it connected up and get it running. Guys, only took 10 minutes. I've got it all connected up. We're going to switch it on and leave it running for the day. Okay, we should be up and running. I can hear the water coming. There we go. So I've just got the level of my float switch to set. I don't want that too high. I want it triggering plenty of times so we get plenty of usage out of it, so it works hard basically. We're filling up nicely. What I will do is just trigger it to make sure everything is going alright. You can hear it running back into the pond. I might just drop that float switch a little bit. I want it to trigger a little bit more today, so I'll push that down a bit. Good flow out to the bucket. That seems all good. Well, at least we know it works. I just caught it with my hand actually. I wasn't counting on triggering it, but I just caught it with my hand and it flicked up, so everything's working. We shall now leave it and see what happens. It's got a full day's work to do. I'll be back with you guys shortly. Okay guys, I've just been to the pond and given it a good stir up with my brush. Having 2 RDFs on it, I'm not too worried because that'll soon clear. So we're just going to wait for this to trigger now. It's getting, the float's starting to bob about a bit, so hopefully it's going to trigger very shortly. And we'll see what sort of job we're doing. But the float's starting to bob about a bit, so I'm expecting it to trigger any minute. Hopefully it won't make me jump like it did yesterday. And here we go. So let's see what we've got coming out of it. Oh yeah. Not bad at all. Definitely doing the job. Excellent. I've got the splashboard fixed now, and as you can see it's cut the spray down big time. So that is perfectly acceptable. It's about 4 or 5 inches from the top. I don't know whether you'll be able to see that, but it is 4 or 5 inches from the top, and it stopped it chucking water everywhere, which is just what I wanted. But I got it there fixed down now. I've got to screw both ends that hold it in place, so that's another job down. I did try them other jets. Unfortunately they hadn't got the pressure these had. The spray was a lot finer, so I bit the dust with them. So I shall go and try a bigger jet now and see what happens. I'll get some on order and pick some with a good flow rate. Mind you, these are working well, I have to say, but you never know whether you can make things better, do you? Unless you try. So I'll order a couple more and see what happens. Now I really stirred that pond up as much as I possibly could with the brush, and it was quite cloudy, and this is now an hour and a half, nearly 2 hours down the line, and with 2 RDFs on the pond it's just cleared it up straight away within a couple of hours. It's as clear as a bell again now, and that was quite stirred up. I was going to show you it, but I forgot, so I'll apologise for that. It was quite cloudy in there, and that's cleared it up in, well, less than a couple of hours. They're all here, look, all hungry as usual. Always hungry, boy, always hungry. But must go get on. I've got this roof to put together now. Well, there we go. That's it pretty much done at the moment. I've got the lid made, I've got the box fixed on here, I've got the spray guard on, so that's pretty much it. It's been running, the filter's been running all day and not been a problem at all. It's triggering about once an hour at the moment. I'm about to switch it off and pack it all up. It's sort of 5:30, 6 o'clock time, so that's what I want to do. Get it all packed away, get it all cleaned out, and all's good. Well pleased with it. I've got to now take it to pieces and get all this wood painted. I think everything else, unless I think of something else, is pretty much done. I've just got a cover to make for the water pump. I want to get that done, but that's about it. All's good. That's my lash up. Temporary return to the pond. Bit of a lash, but there you go. But yeah, that's it. Pretty much done. A nice handle on the front and hinge it at the back, and away we go. But that's it for today, guys. I've about had enough. I'm getting tired now, so I'm going to call it a day. So all that leaves me to say is thanks for watching. You all take care and happy ponding.